The Women in Business Show, brought to you by Promo Experts. Promo Experts is a one-stop, full-service marketing company. They can help you get noticed with top-notch creative graphic design, marketing strategy, video production, digital marketing, and promotional products to move you forward. Okay, audience, here's your host of the Women in Business Show, Diane Carson.
Hello, listeners. Welcome to the show. My name is Diane Carson, and I am the host of the Women in Business Show on KWRH 92.9 FM and KXOK 102.9 FM, and the owner of Promo Experts, a marketing, public relations, and promotional product distribution company. This show airs on KWRH 92.9 FM and KXOK 102.9 FM on Sunday at noon, and streams daily the following week at 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. on My Genre Radio through Zeno FM. Each week, we interview a successful business owner or an expert who can provide advice to our women business owner listeners, providing them insight into their business, to women who are just starting a business, thinking about leaving their corporate jobs to enter the world of entrepreneurship, and in this case today, nonprofits, or who want to move their business, professional, or personal life to the next level. We hope you'll gain at least one good nugget that you can put into practice in your business, professional, or personal life immediately. Today, our topic is how the power of nonprofits impact a community's economic future. And we're speaking with Rachel Covington, the Executive Director of Community Value Alliance. Before we begin chatting with Rachel, here is a short background on her accomplishments. Rachel has more than 25 years' experience as a nonprofit professional working in the social service and healthcare sectors. Rachel is the consummate professional bringing a wealth of expertise in organizational development, strategic planning, major gifts, and board development. Rachel has been in leadership roles for her entire career and is proud to share her experience with the nonprofit sector. She has held leadership roles at the National Kidney Foundation, Ascension Health, SSM, and Mercy Health. As a consultant, Rachel uses best practices in initiating creative changes within an organization, and her specialty lies in strategically aligning an organization for the future. She has successfully raised over $20 million over her career and assisted organizations to reimagine their vision and mission, driving financial results into future sustainability. Building strong boards, thinking strategically, collaboratively, that's a long word, and identifying major giving as key strategies are among Rachel's talents. Rachel holds a bachelor's degree from Stevens College and is a graduate of the Madison Institute. She received the Entrepreneurial Award from the Ewing Marion Kauffman Foundation. She serves on the board of directors for Marygrove and is a longstanding member of the AHP and AFP. She is currently teaching a course in board development at St. Louis Community College, and she serves as a panelist for the Taylor Community Consulting Program at Washington University. So my goodness, Rachel, that's a heck of a lot. You're not busy at all. So let's welcome Rachel to the show. Welcome, Rachel. Hi.
Hello. Good afternoon, Diane.
Thanks for being here. So let's jump right in here.
Sure.
So why is understanding the financial statements important? I guess the financial statements of an organization, a nonprofit organization.
Right. It is so important because it drives the ship.
Hmm.
In nonprofits, the leaders are usually very, very adept with their mission and their vision and their passion. And many of them do not have the educational experience to really understand that they need to have a margin.
Right.
And if you don't know how to audit a financial statement, read a financial statement, interpret the financials, it's very hard to keep your ship afloat.
Right. So I'm guessing that you rely on people that are experienced in that world.
Yeah. What I suggest for all nonprofits is to have an accountant available to them at all times.
Mm-hmm.
If you can have an accountant on your board,
Okay.
that is wonderful,
Right.
because then you can get advice at no cost,
Mhm.
and usually it's really sound advice.
Mhm. So I'm assuming that if you need an accountant, what other disciplines do you need? I guess an attorney.
Oh, for a board,
Uh-huh.
okay, yeah, we look at all skills,
Okay.
legal,
Mm.
helping you with the incorporation of the organization and keeping it incorporated and staying in good standing.
Mhm.
Human resource, someone with human resource experience, because these organizations usually you start hiring people and then you have to know
Right.
what the rules are around that.
Mhm.
We strongly suggest someone in fundraising,
Mhm.
someone in strategic planning,
Mhm.
and lately it's IT is getting a lot of play.
Right.
You know,
Yes. Oh, I imagine so. So what's the most important priority for nonprofit leaders?
wow, that's good. The mission, obviously, the mission
Mhm.
of your nonprofit is the most important priority,
Right.
and the mission should drive everything else.
Okay. So if you have an idea, and
Mhm.
I guess you have to be really passionate,
Yes.
what's the first step? So how do you even start? How do you go down the path of starting up a nonprofit?
Oh, okay. Well, it's pretty old fashioned when you really get down to it. It usually starts with a person with a great deal of passion, or maybe a group of people who have that passion. And that person and or people that are involved in this passion is usually small, 2 to 3 people,
Mhm.
and they know people, they have friends,
Oh,
and then
wow.
they just start communicating
Right.
and networking, and before you know it, you have a cadre of followers.
Okay.
And that's how you have to really look at it. People who are following your vision,
Okay.
your dream.
And imagine, do you have to register somewhere?
Yeah.
Okay.
After you've decided that you've got this coalescence of people together, it's really a good idea to find an attorney. I
Mhm.
strongly suggest getting an attorney and filing for a nonprofit status, which is
Okay.
a 501c3.
Right. And how long does that take typically?
Usually takes a couple of months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a special application that you have to fill out.
Mhm.
You do have to have a mission statement
Right.
in this application.
Mhm.
You have to have at least 3 board members on this application.
Okay.
And there are a few other pieces that you need to fill out.
Okay. And so the application, where do you get that? Or a lawyer gets
State of
it?
Missouri.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Oh, so can you also be in like multi-states, or just one state, or?
You would have to file in each state.
Okay.
Any state that you want to be in is a separate filing.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to go out tomorrow and start up a nonprofit for one of my passions, which actually is animals, which is probably what I would do. But I just would have to get the lawyer on board, get the accountant.
Find
Get the
a
3 board
really
members.
good
Okay.
friend who's an attorney.
Okay.
Start there, and then if you can find someone who is an accountant or has bookkeeping experience,
Okay.
that would be helpful as well.
Okay. How does a leader get paid? I mean, what is it from the donations that come in? Is it a set salary? Is it how
How
that
does
done?
the leader get paid?
How does the person that starts a nonprofit? I mean, say that's
Sure.
what they want to do with their life's work.
Right. Many leaders are doing it as a volunteer.
Right. Yeah.
And usually as funds come in from fundraising,
Okay.
special events is usually what starts many nonprofits.
Okay.
Once they get to a point where they feel like they can afford to hire,
Mhm.
then they do that. And then sometimes it is the leader who starts.
Okay.
But if the leader who starts is getting a salary, that person usually then either steps off the board or is an ex officio member of the board,
Okay.
non-voting
Oh, okay.
member.
Okay. But you can get a salary if
You can get a salary.
after a while. Obviously, it takes a while to
Right.
get
If
donations
you
coming
are
in. Yeah.
lucky enough to open up your nonprofit with an endowment of money,
Right.
then you can start immediately hiring
Oh, wow. Okay.
if you had the money.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which a lot of them die. A lot of them are unfortunately started in, or I don't know, fortunately or unfortunately started in people's garages.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah.
Or Dunkin' Donuts.
Right. Yeah, there you go. Yes. So can you explain the phrase mission and margin? Where does that come from? And what is that?
Oh, the history behind that phrase actually goes back to a daughter of Charity, a sister
Okay.
who was running a hospital
Mhm.
and was quoted many times as saying that if we don't continue to have a healthy margin, meaning a profit,
Mhm.
if we don't show some profit, we can't not sustain our mission because it takes money to buy the equipment. It
Oh.
takes money to hire nurses.
Right.
You need that. You need to show some type of a margin
Mhm.
in order to keep your mission.
Okay.
So it started there, and along the way, it just gained support when one of the sisters was quoted by the Wall Street Journal
Hmm.
with that same phrase.
Wow.
And as soon as it hit the Wall Street Journal,
Sure. It became
it became,
A-
it became
a phrase. Yeah.
very well known.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So I don't think I've never heard of that. So
Yeah. And it's really about trying to get the nonprofit leaders and boards to understand it's like an airplane, you can't dip too far
Mhm.
into the mission
Mm.
to where you are sacrificing your revenue.
Okay.
And then you can't go too heavily into the revenue to where you've got all this money and don't know what to do with it.
Okay. So
You need to keep it a
I
balance.
was going to ask you that.
Yeah.
Are they heavily regulated nonprofits? And who does that?
They're getting more regulated over the past couple of years
Mhm.
because I think historically there have been glitches along the way, and I think many governments and states now are starting to look at them a little differently.
And the reason is why so
To
suddenly?
make sure that they are adhering to their mission,
Okay.
to make sure that if they are raising money, it's going to the right places.
Okay. So they're not pocketing it and
Right,
benefiting from
Right.
them themselves.
right.
So because a lot of them are they non-taxable or
Sales tax,
Okay.
they are exempt from sales tax.
right? But they have to file taxes like a
Um,
corporation would, or
Well, it's a separate form that they use for a nonprofit,
okay.
and they don't have to pay like taxes like you and I do.
Okay. So
But
it's lower or
if
higher?
they hire
Okay.
someone,
Okay.
then that person who's being hired is subject to taxes from the payroll.
Okay. Okay. Boy, it's a lot of pieces to it.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
and it's very much like a small business, really, when you think about it.
It
you know.
is.
Yeah, except for not the small businesses don't do good, but it's doing good. So tell us about the board of directors and what role do they play?
Well, an ideal board of directors are people who really believe in your mission and are willing to be the advocates for
Mhm.
that mission, are willing to go out, meet other people, sound the alarm, and are skilled in some of these areas we just mentioned. Like
Mhm.
it's really good to have a lawyer on your board.
Mhm.
It's really good to have someone in human resources on your board. The board is a fiduciary board where they are governing over the financial well-being of the organization and therefore governing over that mission,
Mhm.
making sure that everyone is doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Okay, and how often do they meet?
That depends.
Okay.
That's usually set up in your articles of incorporation and your bylaws.
Okay.
Some organizations have boards that meet monthly,
Mm-hmm.
some meet quarterly,
Mm-hmm.
and some meet yearly.
Right. Are they paid boards? Or some are paid boards?
Nonprofit boards are not paid.
They're not. Okay. And so when you make that commitment, then you're really giving your free time.
Exactly. You are a volunteer.
Hmm.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I know. I've been there. So are they responsible for the financial management then? Well, I think we just talked
Yes,
about
they
that, where
are.
you said they were
Yes.
like the overseers.
Mhm.
And when you say they, ideally, how many people would be on a board?
That varies as well.
Okay.
One rule that is one that is very good to follow is to have an odd number of people on the board, like
Okay.
11 or 13 or 15 versus
voting?
12 for
Right.
voting purposes. An ideal board depends on ideal number of people on your board. It really depends on the size of your organization.
Mhm. So what would you recommend? I mean, can you give us a
So
comparison?
organizations like the Y,
Okay.
like a Catholic Charities or something like that, they might have up to 21 people on their
Oh,
board.
wow.
They
That's a
might,
lot.
they
Yeah.
might. Not all of them do, but they
Right,
might.
right.
The smaller organizations that are under $1 million revenue, they tend to stay more in the
Okay.
9-member board
Mhm.
range.
Okay. So is it good to be on your resume to be on a board? Or, I mean, why do people join boards?
Well, people join boards for various reasons.
Well, right. But I mean, obviously, because
and
it's their passion for
yeah,
whatever.
but when you're picking out that board
Mhm,
member, you
right.
want that board member to be on your board because they believe in what you
What
do.
you do. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
It doesn't hurt the board member to have their name on a stationery,
Mhm.
with a well-known organization
Okay.
or an organization that does very good work.
Mhm.
There's a plus to that.
Right. And how diverse do they need to be?
Diverse in
In terms of
boards
right.
being
Mhm,
diverse.
right.
Yes, we encourage DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Okay.
We have a grid, actually. CVA has a grid that we can give organizations that allows them to see how many white people they have on their board, how many Black people they have on their board, how many lawyers they have on their board, how many fundraisers, and the ages of the board as well.
Okay.
How many people are under 30, how many people are over 50.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about CVA. You mentioned CVA, so Community Value Alliance. So can you
Correct.
tell us something about that?
Yes, it is a nonprofit consulting firm
Mhm.
dedicated to strengthening and empowering nonprofits in areas where they tend to fall short. And then an example would be understanding the financial statements. Many nonprofit leaders don't understand the financial statements. CVA comes in and coaches and mentors and provides leadership and education.
Okay. And the type of nonprofits that you would like to have in your, it
We're
doesn't
open to
matter?
all
Okay.
nonprofits.
Okay. And do they have to be a certain size or?
Actually, no.
Okay.
We are attracting many organizations that are on the smaller side because, when you're first beginning, there are a lot of questions. That's not to say when you're larger that you don't have issues that you've missed or need assistance on, but we do help people and organizations under $500,000 annual budget all the way up to $20 and $30 million budgets.
Wow. And do they all pretty much have the same needs, or do they all have a diverse problems?
Different priorities,
Okay.
but at the end of the day, it all boils down to success or failure and challenge. So, one organization might be worrying about their fundraising more than another organization is worrying about that. And another organization might be worrying about, we have to hire 5 more people. How are we going to do it? It does vary.
Okay.
But with each problem or priority, if you strengthen that priority, then you strengthen your organization.
Okay. And so how do people usually find you? I mean, is it referrals? Is it, I know you go out and speak in the community. Is that?
Yes, we do. We have lunch and learns, and we do have a list, the United Way list type of listing that we have of nonprofits, and we do mass mailings for that. We do 3 lunch and learns a year. I am working with St. Louis Community College as well. And then we have our board of directors and people who have already worked with us that start to use word of mouth.
That's great. Okay. So can you give us an example? I mean, you don't have to name names, but give us an example of someone that you've helped and how it's helped them to get maybe to the next level or.
Well, we have an organization called Love Like Jackson.
Okay. Oh, yes, I know them. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, she's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And when we started with her, I think she had 3 or 4 people on her board that were all friends,
Mhm.
friends.
Right.
And she needed to figure out, okay, we're doing all this great work.
Mhm.
How do we get to that, next step, that next level?
Right.
And after 3 or 4 months working on board development, they now have a lawyer on their board.
Mhm.
They now have an HR person on their board. And I believe they are looking now at a corporate, someone from a large corporation to be on their board.
Mhm.
So before that, these were just friends that she knew.
Mhm.
And now she's reaching out beyond that.
Yeah, she's doing a great job.
Yes.
Yeah. And I didn't realize she was being coached because, she
Yeah.
obviously is.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, Carrie. Yeah. And she was formed. I think something happened to her son.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. She lost
Right.
her son.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
I think they're reaching out to people, parents who've had.
Right. Her niche, or Love Like Jackson's niche, is really for the siblings that are left behind.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They do. All nonprofits do really, really wonderful work.
Mhm.
So that's great that you're able to help them grow. So should they be part of the fabric of social responsibility?
Absolutely.
Okay. You want
Absolutely.
to expand on that?
Well, when you look around the communities, there is a social fabric that you see. Some are strong, some are weaker than others. And nonprofits are embedded in the community. So what nonprofits are doing, are contributing to that community that they are serving. And that's why they should be part of that social responsibility.
Mhm. Yeah, because you and I
They should be
talked a little bit about
recognized as
Feed My
that.
People and
Right.
some of the food banks that,
Right. Right.
people in need could go to. So
Right.
Yeah.
They need to be recognized as part of the solution for
Mhm.
social responsibility.
Mhm. Right. Yeah, because I'm sure a lot of people that wouldn't be able to be where they are today without the help of some of them. They
Right.
might not need them. How long do you think someone might need? Well, it's hard to say. I guess depends on what your situation is. So,
Mhm.
have you known? I mean, I don't think people are associated with them for years, but I mean, they do. At least it gets them up off their feet and
Mhm.
right.
Well, that's a discussion in the nonprofit world that goes on for a long time.
Mhm.
Do we help the root cause
Right.
of the problem, or
Right.
do we just give what
Mhm.
you need at this time?
Right. Yeah. So sponsorships. Talk to me a little bit about those. How do you go out and get sponsorships
Are you talking about fundraising?
for fundraising?
For
Yeah.
fundraising?
Right.
Well, you go out and you tell your story.
Right.
When I say you tell your story, it's nice to do it in a way that you've got it succinctly put together.
Mhm.
And there's a document called a case statement.
Mhm.
And that usually is a couple of paragraphs written that you could work off of talking points to go out and tell your dream
Mhm.
to someone
Mhm.
who has the means
Right.
and the resources.
Mhm.
So having said that, before you get out there, you do need to do a little homework on who
Mhm.
and what companies, what individuals are in the community that have resources that
Mhm.
can donate to you.
Right. And do you think every corporation is philanthropic, or I mean, I know that we talked a little bit about some of the companies in
Mhm.
St. Louis that are maybe looking at other ways.
Hmm. Yeah, I think over the years things have changed a
Mhm.
bit
Mhm.
with corporations and even your private foundations and not only in the St. Louis area but throughout the nation. More accountability.
Right.
They're asking for, there are more reporting mechanisms that
Mhm.
they are looking for,
Mhm.
wanting to see what did you do with the resources they gave you,
Mhm.
how many people did you serve,
Right.
you know.
Right.
I think that accountability has risen. And I also think the blank check
Mhm.
mentality is going away.
Mhm.
you are among many nonprofits
Mhm.
or many
Right.
needs that
Mhm.
these corporations are looking at and these individuals are looking at.
Mm-hmm.
So they vet you higher.
hmm So does Community Value Alliance, do they just help people in the St. Louis area, or can you help anybody? Is this,
Yeah, we're set up to do it nationwide.
oh, wow.
And then we actually have a couple of clients outside of the Missouri.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this show goes to I think it's over 100 cities. So
Oh, wow. Yeah.
in case there's anybody out there that
Right.
might need your help, to at least, learn a little bit about, whether they're doing it the right way or,
Right.
come to you for help. So tell me about what's happened since COVID. How has fundraising changed?
Well, people were isolated for so long, and I think it took a while for people to become reacclimated into the idea of gathering and having special events and going out and actually meeting with funders and one-on-one versus virtual. I think there's been a slow but steady progress towards back to normal, so to speak. However, we all are aware of the volatility with the stock market and the economy right now, and that is affecting in real time for this past year and this year going forward, the amount of resources and the ability to move those resources quicker.
Yeah, so you have to be really
Yeah.
creative on
Yeah.
how you're going to get out there and raise those
Right.
funds. What happened during COVID? Did donations go down? Obviously, I
Well,
guess.
initially, there was a big bump up in many donations, especially in healthcare. I think we all remember hearing these stories about the nurses and heroes
right,
and the
right.
doctors being heroes.
Mhm.
There were a lot of people who gave during that time. But as time went on and COVID continued and economy started changing, then all of that changed.
Right. It must be a challenge.
Right now, nonprofits are working a little harder
Yeah,
to get those
I bet
resources.
they are. So before we go to break, can you tell us how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Well, they can call me at 314-780-2902
Okay.
or email me at rachel.covington@cvastl.org.
And that's RACHEL.
Correct.
Yeah.
Thank you, Diane.
Okay, you want to give that phone number one more time?
314-780-2902.
Okay, and then you have a website too, don't you? CVA has a website.
Yes, cvastl.org.
Okay, so they go to the website. Is there some way?
Yes, if you
Okay.
go to the website, we have a section there to contact us,
Okay.
and you could fill out a form, and then we get pinged that a form is sitting there, and
Wow.
we make the call.
Well, that's great. So would it be you that makes that call? Or
More than likely,
okay.
yeah.
Great.
Mhm.
Okay. So they would benefit from your expertise. Well, I hope they take advantage of that, because I think what you're doing, to help nonprofits, especially, nonprofits that are, as you said, they're smaller and they're, they don't have as many people to work in it. And they do need a lot of help and guidance, which is what Rachel does. And she's very good at that. So, so we're going to take a short break, and we will return in about a minute, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, Jim's saying. Okay.
Do you want to become a radio show host, or do you want to create a radio show? Well, Dr. Stan Fine can help you to have your own radio show and put you on 100 cities daily across the U.S. And you can immediately start recording from a live radio studio. As a radio industry veteran, Dr. Stan Fine has 12 years of experience and has produced and hosted over 1,000 radio shows with over 10 million listeners. Dr. Stan Fine knows how to make this happen for you. He's a pro, and he can turn your dreams into a reality. Dr. Stan Fine will help you with everything from learning how to promote your show, develop a host persona, interview techniques, market your show on social media, teach you how to get guests and sponsors, and more. Dr. Stan Fine can put you on the air nationwide daily to 100 cities. If you're interested in making your dream come true, if you want to see how it all works, then give Dr. Stan Fine a call at 314-710-8413. That's 314-710-8413. You've got nothing to lose, and Dr. Stan Fine can help make your nationwide radio dreams come true.
Hey, listeners, saying thanks to your customers is nice and polite, but expressing your gratitude in memorable and ongoing ways can boost your business. At Promo Experts LLC, we exceed our customers' expectations. For over 20 years, our product knowledge and experience has helped them with their marketing initiatives and trade show graphics. We are happy to put that experience to work for you. Quality products, great customer service, and prices are our number one priority. We work with you to find unique, creative, and new ideas that fit your image and expectations, helping you build strong relationships with your customers. When you select Promo Experts as your marketing partner, we help you to see more than the big picture. For more information about this exciting opportunity, contact Diane Carson, President, at 636-458-5241. That's 636-458-5241. Let Promo Experts help you to move your business brand beyond the bland. Have you always wanted to write your own book but don't know where to start? Publishing Concepts, a publishing company located right here in St. Louis, offers everything from consulting, book printing, copyrights, ISBNs and barcodes, print book layout, ebook and iBook layout, graphic design, cover design, ghostwriting, typing and editing, distribution, marketing, and more for an affordable price. Visit publishingconceptsllc.com or just Google Publishing Concepts to get started today, or call 314-781-8880. That's 314-781-8880. Publishing Concepts. We help you sell more books.
If you're looking for a new, informative health and lifestyle show to gain knowledge and inspiration to help guide your journey to think, work, and live more powerfully, then you need to listen to Sage Advice with Melissa. Now, whether you're trying to improve your life from a mental, physical, or spiritual journey, Sage Advice with Melissa Coleman, CEO of Sage Skincare, delivers weekly advice from industry experts to provide you with insightful suggestions to allow you to thrive with a better quality of life. Melissa's mission? To guide you through the uncharted waters of health and wellness and to give you a voice to help improve your life. So be sure to tune in to Melissa. You'll be glad you did.
Many small businesses do not have a marketing manager. In many cases, it is the company owner that drives marketing and sales efforts with the gut instinct to survive. Even when small businesses do have a marketing manager, though, many of them are trying to navigate through the complex sales and marketing landscape with little to no success or budget.
How to Promote Your Business with Limited Money is a general-purpose, how-to business book written for business owners and marketing professionals by business owners Dr. Stan Fine and Joseph W. Clote. This guide is not intended to be read as a front-to-back chapter book and rather serves as a quick reference guide. Refer to this book as you need specific information and skip around as needed.
Promoting your business with limited money is one challenging feat, but there are unlimited ideas you can apply to achieve objectives you pre-establish. So put on your marketing hat and let's take action to start showing your prospects the value your business delivers.
A little you need to know about Dr. Stan Fine. During his 60-year career, Dr. Fine has become an authority on sales and marketing business development issues. His presentations have made him much in demand as a speaker and seminar leader. He has taught business development topics at numerous universities across the United States and has conducted over 500 sales and management seminars. Some of Dr. Fine's credentials in corporate America are currently Dr. Fine serves as a co-host of the To Your Business radio show on KDORH 92.9 FM in St. Louis and a co-host of Nationwide Daily Radio Show on my Genre Radio Network on the Zeno Media platform. In 100 cities, he is also on a daily TV show on the Valuable TV and the Real TV networks. Go and get a copy of How to Promote Your Business with Limited Money today.
To purchase your copy of How to Promote Your Business with Limited Money, Go to It's Your Business website at www.itsyourbusinessradio.com.
Welcome back to part 2 of our show. If you're just now joining us, you're listening to the Women in Business Show. You can catch us locally every Sunday at noon on KWRH 92.9 FM and KXOK 102.9 FM, and streaming daily at 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. on My Genre Radio through Zeno FM at zeno.fm/St. Louis. Today, we're talking with the Executive Director of Community Value Alliance, Rachel Covington. So before we go any further, can you please tell us again how our listeners can contact you?
Sure. By phone, 314-780-2902. Our website, cvastl.org. And email me, rachel.covington@cvastl.org.
Okay, thanks, Rachel. So tell us about the mechanics of fundraising. How have they changed?
Well, before we talk about the change, I want to let everyone know that the most important tenet of fundraising is building relationships.
Mhm.
And even though the mechanics of the vehicles that you might use to do this, to build that relationship, that's what's changing as we go forward. With the internet,
Mm.
with the ability of your iPhone to do more than it ever did before, people are really and truly looking more and more at virtual fundraising.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of talk about that, whether that's really a good thing. But to be honest with you, when you're in Rome, you do as Romans do.
Mhm.
So digital fundraising, social media fundraising is becoming much more prevalent than before.
Yeah, I see on Facebook where people say, for my birthday, I want to raise funds for whatever, is their passion.
Mhm.
And then I'm wanting to raise X amount. And you can
Right.
see the needle going up as people.
Right.
And I've donated to a lot of those. So I can see where they do work, but
Mhm.
that's really on a small scale. So how would that work on a large scale?
Well, actually, they can get pretty large.
Really?
Yeah. They really can. You can raise a lot of money.
Mhm.
However, when we're talking about the different ways that you can fundraise in this day and age, now that we're out of COVID, the ideal way really is to get in front of someone
Mhm.
one-on-one
Mhm.
and have that passionate discussion.
Right. Are a lot of the big events coming back? The galas,
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. As a matter of fact, I was at 2 of them this year that I wasn't able to go for 2.5 years. So, and it was actually sold out.
Mm.
Both of them were.
Wow.
So there is a pent up demand right
Mhm.
now for people wanting to get out
Mhm.
and start experiencing that special event feel.
Mhm.
The galas, the runs, the bicycle, biking,
Right.
all of that.
Right. And then, well, I guess the biggest one is, the Girl Scout cookies. I mean, that's still
Oh, I know.
still works. So, a digital versus in person. So, the pros and cons.
Sure. Well, digital is very quick.
Mm-hmm.
You can reach mass audiences in a second. The cons are that the building that relationship, having that personal touch, is harder to do.
Mm-hmm. Well,
And people do give to people.
right, which is, I guess, why those birthday things,
Right.
obviously are pretty
Mhm.
successful.
Mhm.
I just feel like everybody's using them, so,
Yes.
but you can pick and choose. So,
Sure. Mhm.
how much you want to give and who you want to give to. How do you know much about those? I mean, when you do a digital, I mean, obviously a certain percentage of it goes to whoever is administering that, right?
I think those are different with each company that you
Okay.
work with.
Okay.
And there are some organizations doing it on their own.
Okay.
They're administering it themselves.
Oh, okay. So on their website or through social media, what would they do? Buy a Facebook ad or something? Campaign?
Good question.
Oh, okay.
Not
Okay.
real sure how everyone,
Okay. Okay. That's why you bring on experts now. Yeah. Tell us a little bit. Actually, tell us about that. How Community Value Alliance. I know that you, full disclosure, you talked to me about being a marketing person that somebody might need to
Right,
use.
right.
So,
Well, Community Value Alliance was founded by three businessmen who recognized that whenever they had a nonprofit client, they treated that nonprofit client a little differently than they had to treat the for-profit client. There was a different culture in that nonprofit space. And many, many times they found out that there was not just one thing that they needed, but there were many, many things that they needed. So they got together and said, we have companies and we understand how to run, businesses. Why can't we lend our expertise and build our own nonprofit consulting firm to give the nonprofits delivery of services in the areas that they need it the most? So when Community Value Alliance opened 3 years ago, we started with a stable of 15 for-profit companies that were willing to work with nonprofits in different areas like human resources, accounting, finance, legal help, strategic planning, etc. Over the years, we've learned that just delivering the services is wonderful, but when you deliver those services, you find out so much more that's needed. So we wound up coaching and mentoring, and now have developed a new product called Nonprofit 360.
okay. So can you explain what that is?
Sure. Nonprofit 360 is a curriculum that not only includes fundraising, but also includes all the disciplines I just mentioned. The accounting, the legal, the IT, the strategic planning, and the fundraising. I believe there's 11, even change management is in there, organization development is in there. So there's like 11 areas. Again, 360, a comprehensive curriculum that is done over 12 sessions.
Okay.
And then after those 12 sessions, we open up roundtables, networking. So then during the roundtable networking, what we hope to see happen there is that the nonprofits get together and we then have subject matter experts come in on certain topics from time to time.
Okay. And so where will you hold these?
The first one we hold will be at Lindenwood University.
Okay.
And we have collaborated with Lindenwood on this, as well as a for-profit company called KBL Impact Partners with Kathy and Brad Lambert.
Okay.
So it's a collaborative effort, Nonprofit 360. And again, that we hope to be able to educate the nonprofits in these different areas so that they can become strengthened.
Okay. And so you'll send out invitations to the nonprofits that you want to come, that you think might be interested.
Right. We're going to market it various different ways, just like I am today,
Right.
for instance, on the air.
Right.
We do have a list of nonprofits. We will be utilizing Lindenwood to help us with that list as well. I also teach at St. Louis Community College, so we'll be asking them for a list as well. So we're hoping over this next year, the word will get out there.
Okay. So 12
12 sessions. We will take 10 nonprofits at a time
Wow.
for a cohort.
Okay. And is that monthly? One a month? One a
Every
week?
other week.
Every other week.
We will
Okay.
have a session that will last 2 hours.
Okay.
And then in between those 2 weeks, hopefully there's a little bit of homework that you'll have, and
Right.
accountability there with that.
And so who will that include? Will that be board members? Will it be the leaders? Who will that be?
We are opening it to the nonprofits that they can have their board members and their leaders at.
Okay. Wow. That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah. So everybody's all on the same page.
That's right.
And and then they go back and they do their homework and then they
Right.
come back the next week.
Right.
And, so
And we've likened it to some fundraising boot camps that have been done in the past. When people go through these curriculums or boot camps or sessions, they come out with a better sense of what they need.
Mhm.
What's not out there is a comprehensive curriculum with these other areas I mentioned
Mhm.
besides the fundraising. So
Okay.
that's why we're doing that.
And who has designed the curriculum? Who is it? You? Is it? It is.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
the curriculum, we have 11 sets of curriculum.
Okay.
Right? So each section. So we have partnered with like Regions Bank to
Oh,
do
okay.
fraud banking and things like that.
Oh, okay.
Omega Inc., which is great for accounting.
Mhm.
They have CPAs on
Okay.
board. They're going to do that curriculum.
Okay.
We have Aegis Law,
Mhm.
who has attorneys dedicated to nonprofit law.
Wow.
So
that's
they're going to do
amazing.
the curriculum for us there.
Oh, that's education.
Yeah.
That
So
they just,
each area,
yeah.
the curriculum is done by a subject matter expert.
Okay. Wow. That's fantastic. That's worth its weight in gold there, because really it would take some of them years, to
Right.
learn
Right.
some of it. And it sounds like a great program. So should they, I see where you have something down here. It says, what does the following phrase mean? Earned income.
Earned income. Okay. So we've talked a lot about fundraising,
Uh-huh.
but we've not talked about the ability for the nonprofit to raise their own money based on services that they might have.
Okay.
And that is considered earned income.
Okay.
Example, there are nonprofits who give behavioral health services.
Okay.
Okay. So if you deliver behavioral health services,
Mhm.
that can be reimbursable with insurance and or government
Oh, okay.
funding. And that would be considered earned income.
Okay.
So many times your nonprofit will forget about the ability that they can tap into some programming that they could develop a program that would be reimbursable,
Okay.
and that would be considered earned income.
Oh, interesting. So, because I do know there's I think it's a bakery in Kirkwood that they teach people. Well, I think it's bridge bread. So,
Oh, okay.
and then they teach people how to bake the bread, and then they sell the bread.
Mhm.
But they're hired as workers. So,
Right.
what would that come under?
Well, that's kind of earned income too.
That was what I would think, yeah.
They're selling the bread,
Okay.
and that's probably paying for
Right,
the hiring. of the
right,
people.
right.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah. That's interesting. I never heard it described as that. So, should nonprofits adopt a for-profit mentality?
That's part of what CVA is hoping to marry that idea more and more. Not that they would become a for-profit. That's not what we're saying, but it would be nice to adopt some of the business practices that successful for-profit companies have done in the past.
Such as?
Well, accounting practices.
okay, right.
GAAP accounting.
Right, right.
Not every nonprofit has GAAP accounting.
Okay. Okay.
GAAP
accounting. I'm sorry. I've
That's
heard that one. What
Yeah,
is it?
that's a CPA jargon for
okay.
the accounting that they're doing.
Oh,
They're-
okay.
That's more or less certified.
Okay. And so so they would offer that to the public? Is that how they would become for profit, or?
Oh no, what I'm saying is that that the nonprofit organization should look at the business practices of some very well-known for-profit companies
Okay.
and adopt some of those practices.
Okay.
So that shores up the nonprofit business that
Right.
they have.
Okay. So kind of, I guess, makes them a little more professional and
Right.
kind
Right.
of moves them up a level and I
Mhm.
guess attracts.
and the standards, best practices.
Right. Sure.
There are standards out
Right,
there, and
right.
there are laws
Right.
in HR and human resource areas
Right.
that you need to adhere to.
Right. Yeah. Do you think that would attract bigger donors or?
I think more and more donors and the private foundation, the philanthropic community is looking for
Mhm.
more and more of that. Then when I use that word accountability,
Yeah.
that falls under that
Mhm.
category.
Right. They
You know,
wouldn't-
are you getting your financial statements audited?
Right. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Which do you think, I'm
Is a
sure most of them
question.
are, if they have an accountant on their
Right.
board, they would make sure they are.
right.
To start out with, though, probably a lot of them maybe, are they aware of that, do you think? I mean, a lot of them probably don't even start out with what they're supposed to have on their board. So,
Well, that's why there's a manual.
right.
There, I believe the state of Missouri has a manual that you could get
Okay.
that will give you a skeleton
Okay.
view of, you need X amount of people on your board to start
Really?
the
Wow.
filing.
Okay.
And, you will have to come up with a financial statement after your first year of working,
Okay.
things like that.
Not so easy then to start a nonprofit, obviously.
Right.
Interesting. Because I know a lot of people, go to a lot of networking events, and a lot of them say, I'd really like to start a nonprofit. Well, I don't think a lot of people realize how much goes into that.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's nothing like you just can't go off and just start one, is what you're saying,
Right.
to keep it
Mhm.
above board and legal. And
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
wow. Yeah, I didn't realize that. A lot of time passion drives the mission. So if nonprofits adopt a for-profit mentality, would that adoption dilute the organization's purpose?
I've said so many times that the mission is what drives the organization. And if you have a strong, passionate mission and that is your driver, you don't have to worry about that for-profit mentality diluting what you do.
Right. Yeah. So can you give us an example that, I know you gave us the Love Like Jackson. Can you give us an
Well, I think
organization?
I'll give you this organization in Kansas City.
Okay.
The name of it was Seton Center,
Okay.
and it was a social service agency,
Mhm.
and its annual budget was under $100,000 a year.
Mhm.
And when I say it was a social service agency, it was a soup kitchen,
Mhm.
and they did give out money for utilities. Over time, the board of directors and the community both had a bit of a rising and said, we need a center. We need some place that we can call the center for our community.
Mhm.
And so that Seton Center over the next 8 years started to expand their programs. They brought in adult daycare. They collaborated with the Kansas City School District and became a high school for at-risk high school. And children were getting, graduated with diplomas.
Wow.
They worked with the University of Missouri dental school
Okay.
and had dentists come over, and they started a dental clinic.
Wow.
So that's an example
Okay.
of an organization that went from a nonprofit social service agency to a nonprofit community health
Mhm.
center.
Right. Wow.
And not only that, but then became part of Ascension Health.
Wow.
So it is corporatized in that manner.
Mhm.
It is a ministry of a larger
Mhm.
entity called
Right.
Ascension Health, but yet it still has its mission, still has its dental clinic, still giving out the soup kitchen, still giving out utilities, doing adult daycare.
Wow, that's amazing. That's a warm, fuzzy story. That one
Yeah.
is. Yeah, that's great. So there are over 14,000 nonprofit organizations in I didn't realize there were that many in the St. Louis area. Is there an argument to be made for more collaborations and mergers?
Absolutely. There's an argument for it. Absolutely.
There's an argument. Okay.
But it is very difficult because, again, everyone has their passion and each nonprofit, members of each nonprofit really and truly believe that their nonprofit is doing it right.
Mhm.
I don't know if I could phrase that quite exactly what I mean by that, but everyone has their dream.
Right. Well, that's their baby too, I guess.
And it's
so,
their
yeah,
baby. That's a good
right,
way to put
right.
it. And to have their baby mix up with another
Mhm.
baby
Yeah.
becomes very, very difficult.
Mhm.
But having said that, the fact that there are 14,000, there's a lot of diluted
Mhm.
efforts going
Right.
on,
Right.
and a lot of duplicative efforts,
Mhm.
where if there was the ability to collaborate and make them bind together, so to
Mhm.
speak, I think more can be accomplished.
Mhm.
And I also think money could be raised better
Right.
as well.
Yeah. Well, I think in the case of KBL, I believe Brad had his Wheels for Success and Kathy had her Dress for Success.
Okay.
And the two of those, obviously, but they're they're the same family. But
Right.
I mean, if there were organizations out there like that would
Mhm.
get together and then the two of them formed connections to success.
Right.
I see what you mean. Yeah, I guess it would. But wouldn't it water down the amount of services that are out there? Or I mean, because obviously, if it's, like when two companies merge, then someone's going to lose their job if
Well,
you've got double the.
there, devil's in the details.
Oh, yeah.
And I think
Okay.
I think you have to remember what's important.
Right.
So you don't want to lose any of your programs that are vital,
Right. Right.
no matter if you collaborate or not.
Right. Do you have any suggestions for anybody that wants to become a volunteer and then maybe a board member for an organization? Do you have
Suggestions?
like how would they? I guess, well, you always talk about their passion.
Mhm,
So I guess
mhm.
they figure out, am I into animals? Am I into babies? Am I
Right,
into
right,
healthcare?
right.
So,
Well, yeah. If you know what your passion is,
Mhm.
I would encourage you to get online and look at the organizations that are serving those individuals or those areas that you're concerned about, and give
Right.
them a call
Right.
or email them,
Right.
whatever.
Right.
They are always looking for volunteers.
Volunteers. Yeah. And is there an advantage to being a volunteer? I mean, I guess you can write off your mileage or something on your taxes, but I guess the good feeling you get and
That's
the
really what
helping
I believe it is.
Yeah.
There's just the volunteers who like what they do.
Mhm.
They believe in the mission that
Mhm. Right.
they're working with, and they just feel a sense of accomplishment.
Right. I
and
think, for instance,
well-being.
Regions Bank, that's one of the banks you work with. I believe their employees, don't they have to give so many
They
hours?
do. They
Yeah.
do. Many organizations in
Right.
St. Louis
Right.
are asking their employees
Mhm.
to volunteer.
Right. It's not mandatory, but
Right.
yeah.
Right.
I think that's great. And then
Mhm.
I see a lot of companies, going into Habitat for Humanity and,
Yes.
um,
Building homes. And
right. Yeah.
Asking for people who have experience as carpenters,
Right.
plumbing.
Right. Yeah. So I really appreciate you being here today. I think we've learned a lot. Would you like to tell us again how we can get hold of you?
Yes.
Or how our listeners can.
Phone number is 314-780-2902. Website cvastl.org, and email is Rachel with an E .covington@cvastl.org.
Okay, and they would reach out to you if they have a nonprofit that they would like
If you
to.
have a nonprofit that you think needs some advice or some help in any of the areas we talked about,
Okay,
just give us a call. And it doesn't matter if your nonprofit is small or large.
okay, yeah, because we talked about that too. You said
Yeah.
you had some that were just really small and some that are just humongous. So I think that's great. You're doing some really, really good work out there for nonprofits. I know that they really need help from someone like you. So listeners, please reach out to Rachel to learn more about how she helps nonprofits, a Community Value Alliance, and to me, Diane at promoexperts.com for your promotional product needs. And if you're a women business owner and you'd like to be on the Women in Business show, please just drop me an email, Diane at PROMO experts, expertz.com. Thank you, and see you again next week.